Well, shove a banana in my pants and turn a monkey loose. Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to the leap year quarter four game. I still don't have a name because I filmed these out of sequence. So, now that I can somehow block this light, hey, how's it going? This is the second leap year challenge video that I am doing. So I'm doing pretty good. As of this recording, I've finished 8 out of my minimum of 12, so that's pretty good. Hoping to get up to 16 by Q4, so at least that way I can say I had 4, 4, 4, and 4. But for those of you who have watched part 1 and may be curious, no, these are not meant to be exhaustive reviews of games. This is more like where I was at that particular time, or maybe how I felt about going back to something older, or what I just thought about the game. Any sort of, like, we'll say, comprehensive long form video will be dedicated specifically to that game. This is more so an accountability thing for me. So, without further ado, let's get into it. The first game actually was one I dropped, and that is really the purpose of these sorts of challenges for myself. Because when you have as many games as I do, you'll never finish all of them. You may like go on a shelf and go, oh shit, I own this. Or in my case a few months ago, oh shit, I own Sudeki twice. That actually did happen. And that's only the second time I've actually accidentally purchased a duplicate game in my collection. The other one was Dead Space Extraction, but that's a good game to have a duplicate of. But utilizing this system, I was in the mood for 1992. Oddly, of the retro games I actually went to, they were all from 1992. And the first one I tried and ultimately decided to part ways with in the collection was Pocky and Rocky. Now, before you're like, holy fucking shit. No, I actually played the reshrined version on the Switch. I used to have it on the Super Nintendo a long time ago. But when they announced the reshrined version, I decided, hey, I like money and I need more of it, so I parted ways with it. And the way I tend to work when it comes to collecting these days, and I've mentioned this a few times in the past, but I think it bears reiterating. If I own a game legitimately in any one particular format and I decide to play it in its original format, I don't care if it's on an EverDrive. I don't care if I'm using FPGA, Wizardry, or anything like that. I own it legitimately. I am entitled to play it the way I want to. Because truthfully, analysis paralysis with the best and most definitive way to play a game is just fucking annoying at this point. And truthfully, playing this on the Switch was probably the easiest way for me to get to it. Because truthfully, I can't fucking stand this game. I got to the third stage and just said enough is enough. When a game, honestly, it's a Taito, I guess you could say, stage-based shooter. You're kind of walking around actively. It's not so much like a ship thing. Aesthetically, it's great. Music is great. Visually, it's absolutely drop-dead gorgeous pixel art. But just playing it, I feel like the levels intentionally put you in situations where you have to die. And it's kind of like that arcade mentality where obviously they want your money. But I'm playing this on a home system, so I kind of don't understand why it is the way it is. And even though you do get continues and all that stuff, eventually you get a game over. And I just got really frustrated with it to the point where I was just retreading the same things over and over again. And no matter how much I learned the patterns, they just weren't clicking in my lizard brain. I just wasn't having any fun. And I should have known that going in because I originally rented this game from Blockbuster back around release in 1992. And I didn't like it then either. I think I only made it to stage 2. And back in the day, for those of you who are too young to know about these things, Blockbuster would give you 3 days. I think I went back in 3 hours. It was just that bad. And the one thing I will say about it is so beautiful. I love the pixel art in that game. And what drew me to that game originally was an article from Nintendo Power, which did Nintendo Power review games? Yeah, but it was also a showcase and advertisement. That was really what it was geared towards, to marketing to kids. And this game is pretty much the sort of game that I don't know if this is fact or fiction, but these are the sorts of games that were designed and created around that time to basically fight against the rental market because you couldn't beat them in 3 days. And in my case, I couldn't even beat it in 3 hours. So ultimately, this game is no longer in the collection, whether it be the original or the reshrined version. I just did not enjoy it. That being said, watch some gameplay, look at a video. This may be right up your alley. I have played a bunch of the other Kiki games, as they're known in Japan. And to me, they're actually better. But I don't think they are as visually appealing as this one was to me back in the day. And the next game I finished from 1992. As I said, we're on a 1992 kick. Oh boy, Super Mario Land and the 6 Golden Coins. I had played this not around release, I want to say like 1993. At that point, I was really deep into the Super Nintendo, and I think I'd also gotten my... I was deep into the Nintendo and Super Nintendo at that time, and I'm pretty sure I played this game around 1993, and I never even actually owned it. I borrowed it from a friend. And 6 Golden Coins, I remember playing through it. Not through it, because I never finished it. But it was so different from Super Mario Land, which I'm one of 5 people in the world who like it because it's so weird. It has a shoot 'em up level. Physics are a little strange. The game itself is weird. It shouldn't be a Super Mario game at all. But with Golden Coins, it really is a Super Mario game. It has, your Super Mario World sort of powers, with the bunny ears and the floating and all that stuff. But here's the kicker. Even though graphically it's a little bit more cartoony and it works a little bit closer to Super Mario World, which as an adult I have found out was really meant to be a little bit easier than Super Mario Bros. 3 as a purpose of drawing in new people. This game is fucking hard. And it's open world. It literally gives you different stages you can go to at any particular moment. And they're all themed. There's like a robot level where you basically scale up a giant robot Mario. There's a Halloween level. There's, the push levels. And of course, this was also the introduction of Wario. And I will tell you right from the get-go, I did not expect this game to be so hard as an adult. I remember it being hard as a kid, but truthfully, is it super difficult and impossible to beat? No. Is Wario's castle like the biggest crock of shit in the world? Absolutely. And I played this on Switch Online just because it was easier for me. But I will also make an admission here and a clarification. I played through it on Switch Online, and I will admit, for Wario's level, I did use save states. Only for the purpose of not having to replay entire chunks of the level. Because honestly, I had like 50 lives at that point. There was no way in hell I was going to get a game over, but it was agitating. But I felt guilty, and I didn't think it was real, so I actually went back and I beat it on the Analog Pocket. And guess what? I may have had 30 lives. I had maybe 5 left by the time I finished it. But the game's not long. It's like 2 hours. It's really, really short. There is some hidden stuff. I didn't really bother with any of it. But I think what I really want to hammer in on as like sort of like a guess what, I super enjoyed this game. And even though I do own it physically, cart only, I kind of want it in the box. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought. It was a brilliant palate cleanser for the game that I played in between in between Pocky and Rocky and 6 Golden Coins, and that was Persona 3 Reload. Released in 2024. 2024 counts because it's a leap year. And I had played Persona 3 originally on the PS2 as the FES version. And as of this recording, Atlus has announced that the FES content will be coming as part of an expansion pass down the line. I knew they were going to do that. There's no way in hell they wouldn't because the FES content is canon. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't like it. And this Reload version is supposed to be an accurate, quote-unquote, portrayal of what the original game was, plus some quality of life stuff, plus some modernizations. And as a fan of the original Persona 3, who did not have any problems with not controlling his party, oddly enough, I thought this game was great. It admittedly took me a little bit longer than I originally thought, but that may just be because of cutscenes and everything else. But in terms of dialogue and stuff, I pretty much remembered everything one for one. And there were a few instances where I may have misremembered something, or maybe it was portrayed differently in the FES content, because there is some stuff that's missing that I noticed. And I don't mean like in a derogatory way. It's just it was done differently. And this is supposed to be as one for one as you get. But I really enjoyed it. I think the new voice actors that they got really did a bang up job. And there's a couple of nods to the original voice acting team in the game. If you know, you know. Really, really good. I really enjoyed my time with this. But here's something I have noticed going back to play this game. And this will be done or discussed in a future video. As I said, these aren't supposed to be exhaustive reviews. It hit very differently this time, considering the last time I had played this game through was when I first played it on the PS2 when I first moved into this apartment. And I basically was living check to check, didn't have a lot of expendable income, wasn't really going out a lot just because I couldn't afford it. And Persona 3 FES really kind of pulled me through it and taught me how to schedule myself. And this one, it was kind of like retreading old territory with old friends and just seeing stuff. And I tried to go with different social links this time. I didn't go for like 100%, obviously, but I was trying to do ones that I didn't do originally, and some of them are actually done differently as well. I remember you actually got to pick a sports team, and this time they just automatically shove you on the track. Maybe that's a budgetary thing, I don't know. But I was curious to see, after finishing this game and putting in just shy of 90 hours, I think, maybe 70, I can't recall. I found it very easy towards the end because I knew what to expect with the final boss. And being able to control your party really makes it easy. My wife watching me was even saying, like, this isn't fun, you're not suffering. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, come on, dude, that's not cool. But after finishing it, as I usually do with new releases, I will look at reviews and see what people are saying about it. And there's a lot of revisionist history in this. A lot of people who like the original don't like this one anymore. Some people find the subject matter not as great. Some people find it kind of... One review I saw, which was really triggering for me, said, this game shows the modernization... Did not capitalize on the modernizations of Persona 4 and Persona 5. And I almost just want to say, fuckface, it's supposed to be a straight one-for-one remake with a couple of QOLs. I understand the criticism. I understand they probably could have done more, but I think you're missing the point. And I'm not defending the game. Trust me, there's a bunch of stuff that is missing from the FES stuff that I was like, wow, I really wish they left that in. But fact of the matter is, I feel like if you grew up playing this game, if you played this game back in the day, it is of course going to hit differently as opposed to someone who's only played Persona 5 or Persona 4 Golden. You play the originals, they're very different by comparison. Golden is obviously the best way to play 4, but that's my soapbox. As I said, future video. Next game, going back to 1992, doing this one a little bit out of order here just for the sake of dramaticism. Mega Man 5. Wow, this game, whew. As a kid, I never made it to the Wily stage. Never made it. As an adult, I cannot believe I made it to the Wily stage. And I did it without save states. I was very proud of myself. I thought I would be rewinding like crazy, and I really wasn't. Did I die and spend a shit ton of time on this game? Oh, yeah. Particularly with the Robot Masters, as these games go, you always have to try to figure out the weakness. I made it through 3 with the Mega Buster before I was like, okay, I gotta stop doing this to myself. I actually have to figure it out. But as an adult, there's a really cool trick to this that I never realized as a kid. When you replay stages, it gives you back the E-tanks and the M-tanks. So I farmed the shit out of them. And going into the Wily stage, I had like 10 E-tanks. It made the game really, really easy. Especially since you can save on the fly, not so much like mid-level and whatnot, but it really helped me just in being able to pick this up and put it down. But playing it on the Switch too, suspend, put it down, come back a few days later. But I think I finished this in about 2 days or so. But Mega Man 5 actually holds a very special place in my heart because I bought it from that very Blockbuster that I went to as a kid when they were liquidating games. And considering Mega Man 5 came out towards the end of the NES lifespan, and eventually Mega Man 6 kind of just squeezed in right at the end, this really holds like it holds a little bit of nostalgia for me. But I have to admit, I completely spaced because I really meant to go to the storage unit to pull it out so I could show you guys how much I paid for it, because it really wasn't a lot. If I managed to get over there before I post this video, I'll put up a screenshot somewhere so you can see how much it was, because it was dirt cheap. Unfortunately, if I recall, it has some sticker damage on it from where the Blockbuster sticker was. But this is the funny thing of why this game means a lot to me. When I first decided to pick this game up, and I picked this one up, and I picked up Mighty Final Fight on the same day, believe it or not. My NES died. My one that I got for my birthday back in 1988-ish, it just, old toaster, just up and done. No mas. And knowing what I know now as an adult, maybe it was the pin connectors, maybe I could have fixed it, maybe I could have brought it, maybe I could have called up the Nintendo hotline and a guy dressed as Mario would show up and fix it. I don't actually know. But my mom felt really bad. But the weird thing is, like, I already had a Super Nintendo and all that. So she actually went out and she got me a top loader. And the top loader was funny because it was RF only, because, you know, it's like the budget thing. But it didn't really matter because we were still using RF anyway. As much as some people complain about the top loader specifically for that. And it rejuvenated my love in the Nintendo. I remember playing Mega Man 5, Mighty Final Fight, Star Tropics. I bought that brand new, I want to say for a song, like 1999. And that is another game I would like to have box complete once more. At least as of this recording. Maybe I'll look into it. But with Mega Man 5, like, just being able to walk in and buy, like, we'll say, like, my first, like, ultra discount liquidation clearance game as a kid was pretty cool. Like, I want to say it was, like, $4.99. I don't think it was. But time and place. It's all about time and place. And when I got into video game collecting, and me thinking about this, when I really got into video game collecting as an adult back in 2011, and Book Off, before they started comparing everything online, they would just arbitrarily make everything $5 to $10. I bought a copy of Shenmue on Dreamcast Complete for $5. I bought a copy of Artolenko for $5. I bought a copy of Contra Shattered Soldier for $10. The list goes on. Soul Blade, Soul Edge, $5, $5. Mega Man and Bass, not Bass, $5. And it made me think back, like, me remembering that and thinking back to this Blockbuster thing, it just made me think, like, man, it's not that you don't get deals like that anymore, but there was genuine excitement. Like, when I saw those games, those were games from my childhood. In the case of Mega Man 5, this was a game series I really enjoyed. Because for me, growing up, I had Mega Man 1, I had Mega Man 2, I had Mega Man 3. I didn't get Mega Man 4 until much later in life. But I had a friend who I lent my Mega Man 2 to, and obviously I never got back. And of all of them, right? Mega Man 3 is arguably my favorite because I put the most time into it. It's actually the only Mega Man game I ever finished as a kid. Mega Man 1, fuck guts, man. Say I have PTSD to that shit. But finishing 5 was really cool because I remember being so excited to play it and just having so much difficulty with it as a kid. Just not being able to figure out some of the stages, like I think it's Starman with the gravity shifting, it just didn't click in my head. But now going through it, I was like, wow, this really isn't as difficult as I thought. Lots of death, though, but not as difficult as I thought. And then the last one I finished, coming in 2024, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Holy shit. This needs its own video. I will tell you right from the get-go, these two 2024 games I picked are absolute bangers, and they're absolute favorites of mine. Two beloved game series at large, and I really enjoyed the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I was really excited to see what they were going to do with Rebirth. Because for those of you who played the original Final Fantasy VII, this is where everything opens up, and I really do think Square Enix did it right in this instance. I legitimately was going out of my way to do extra stuff. Something I don't usually do. Or I do to an extent, then I go, okay, cool, I want to see credits, I'm done. I did all the mini games I could in the Gold Saucer. I'm going to be vague here for you guys as much as I can. I almost finished the Queen's Blood side quest. I tried to get all the summons. Fuck that shit for some of them. Did all the chocobo stuff, which you kind of have to do. But I spent so much more time exploring. I spent so much more time just trying to like level everybody up. Oh, the Moogle stuff, of course I did. And unlocking all the fast travel points because this game, fortunately yet unfortunately, I'll say, does a little bit of the Ubisoft thing with towers, but they make it kind of more, I'll say, engaging. And I'm not giving them a pass because it's Final Fantasy. Basically, you get a tower, you get a fast travel spot, and it shows you the next areas that you can visit for side content, whether that be a side quest. There's a really, really cool one in there, and I have to be vague. Whether it's a point of interest, stuff like that. And it kind of encourages you to go across the map finding all this stuff because it helps you in the long run. And some of them even have full-blown storylines attached to them. And they're actually really engaging. The Queen's Blood one is really good. As is the Relic one. That's what I'll say. That one was really, really cool. And there's something in this game I feel like was probably, at first I thought was a miss, but ultimately became like a plus for me, is that it acknowledges the fact that it is a sequel. Because usually the sequel in movies, at least in my experience, tends to be, the odd one out. It's the one that serves as a bridge to get you to part 3, which is really what this is. But this is like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Like, they went ham on the humor. There is so much fun with the crew. The interaction with the different characters in the party, again being vague just in case you haven't played Remake yet, it made the adventure so much more fun. And growing up with these guys in 1997, 1998, I played this in 97 because I got first pre-order for me was Final Fantasy VII. It was such a refreshing, I'm not even going to say breath of fresh air, but it was like going back to a place you haven't visited in so long. And it really made this game much more exciting for me. And I will say probably the greatest strength to this whole thing, at least from my playthrough, was a friend of mine on Instagram, not on YouTube, just a general friend of mine who also plays games. He's a big fan of putting up like the what's going on in this year thing because he's older and he's very reminiscent lately. And he put up a video. It said the year is 1997 and you're about to go on the greatest adventure of all time. And it's the introductory sequence to Final Fantasy VII. And I immediately just text him like, bro, are you playing Rebirth? And he was like, dude, he's like, this hits on so many levels for me. He's like, some of the stuff he's like, I'm not particularly a fan of, but I love what they expanded on. I love the characterization. I love the fact that these are not just like pixelated blobs that just have walls of text at this point. They have personality behind it. And Remake did that. Rebirth capitalizes on it. As I said, this is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 levels of development and levels of fun. Could not be happier with this game. So, those are the 4 and 1 drop for Q2. That's when I have finished these officially. This is the Q2 finale of the Leap Year 4 Quarter 4 Game 4 whatever the fuck it is challenge. We'll be back for Q3, and as I said, if I do feel the need to do any sort of like extended video on any of the games within this is not meant to be more of like a review. It's more just to give you guys some context into where these picks fell in and what they mean to me specifically. But anything deeper will get its own dedicated video. Anyway, rambling for too long. I've been Alex, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care.